GeoGuessr could often raise more questions than answers. Is this Malaysia or Indonesia? What does that road sign mean? What kind of pole is that? But the main question that I usually have is, what's up with that thing over there? If you're new to the channel, my name is Joey, and I make videos about the interesting places that I find when I play GeoGuessr. So let's watch some highlights and some lowlights from a round that I played earlier, and then hopefully future me can answer all of past me's questions. Ooh, okay, we're speaking Arabic. We've got taxis. Is this Tunisia? Would I also be seeing more French? Or be in is pretty French. Can this taxi help me? Not particularly. I'm sure that thing on the roof means something, but I don't know right now. Now that's French, so I think Tunis is currently my guess. Tobacco. You see, no, that's just a tobacconist. Right, can we see any road names written in a language that I read? Avenue Ghana. Okay, we can find Avenue Ghana. And we're going southwest west to northeast east. Right, wait, where did I say we were? Right, okay, let's try Tunis just to start with. To Madrid. Okay, it does track for being named after places or countries. Lyon, Madrid, London. What do I want to go for? I think I'm going to go... I'm switching at the last second. And I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. Where was it? Had we looked there? Oh, it must have been on the screen. Because I definitely saw London. Uh-oh. Whoops, that's all I've got to say about that. Whoops indeed. Now, not only can I confirm that Ghana Avenue was on my screen, but if we look back at the initial zoom in on Tunis, you can see that my cursor was actually hovering over Ghana Avenue. If I'd have just hit send right there, I would have somehow walked away with a near perfect score. If we go back over the footage, we can actually see that Ghana Avenue was visible 3 times. Now, what I need is a reliable way to tell Tunis and Sousse apart. Having looked into it, the best way to tell those 2 towns apart are the follow cars. All Google Street View coverage in Tunisia has a government follow car present. And if we look 2 cars behind us, we can see this sneaky olive green Toyota on our trail. If we'd have been further south towards Sousse, the follow car would have been a dark green Mazda instead. Hammamet appears to be the boundary between the light green car and the dark green car. So Tunis could also have this white or silver car as well. And to remember this, I'm thinking of a classic paint color sample chart. They'll always have the lighter colors on the top and the darker colors underneath. Let's see if I did any better in round number 2. Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's an interesting... Well, these are interesting shapes, aren't they? I think we're in Romania.ro. But these buildings here... Fascinating. It's like brutalist art deco. Are those the words to describe this? I think so. Right, I'm going to have to look into those. So, we think we're in Romania. Where in Romania do we think we are? Oh, not quite enough pixels on that. Can we squeeze? No. Okay. Nope, not quite enough clues on that for me. Maybe for someone else. Okay. Kovar. Did I see Kovar written on the other place? On that sign a moment ago? Kovar. Oh, not quite enough on that. I got 30 seconds. Right, is there a place called Kovar? Ooh, Croivia. That's pretty similar. I mean, it's a completely different word, but at the moment it's the closest. Kovsavana, Kari, Karansebes. Oh, this is not going to be it. Constanta, the old town of Constanta. Ooh, okay, cool. So yeah, what was up with those buildings? So what was it called? It's this building here. All right, I need to dig deeper on this building. So, we were in Constanta, which is Romania's 4th largest city. Founded around 600 BC, it is the oldest continually inhabited city in Romania. I know that I'll never forget this fact, because if it ever comes up again at a random trivia night, my brain will say, Constanta has been constantly inhabited for 1 trillion years. That's just my brain. Home to about 250,000 people, Constanța has this impressive beachfront casino. Believe it or not, it also has a dolphinarium, and then these 3 buildings that I've very much fallen in love with, known locally as the I buildings, because from the side on, the buildings kind of look like the capital letter I. Now, I had to do quite a bit of digging to get to the bottom of what these buildings are, but I've learned that these aren't the only weird or wacky buildings in Constanța, because just down on the seafront, we also have the Rotunda, known locally as the Crayon. Now, both the I buildings and the Rotunda were built in 1987, and they were both built by this fella, Alexandru Costantec, who, rightfully so, remains so proud of his work that to this day, he still lives in one of the I building's residential apartments. Located close to the town's train station, Costantec wanted the I buildings to be a visual landmark to those arriving in the city, which he referred to as an entrance gate. When passengers gaze out of the train windows upon these eye-catching buildings, they feel that they've arrived. Because these buildings would be so prominently visible throughout the town, Costantec decided that these buildings would not have traditional backs, so to speak. They would be unitary on all sides, as they would be visible on all sides. And I really admire that approach to design. Now, this sent me down quite a rabbit hole of Eastern Bloc socialist architecture, and I found this really interesting looking book, but it is also 63 euros. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe so that I can eventually buy this book. Anyway, here's round number 3. Oh, hello. Who are you? And who are you? Oh, what's this? These are all questions that I must answer. Right, Monastery, don't quite know what any of that says. Florence? Florinic? Ooh. Nope, we're in Prague. Prague 1, Star Mesto. Prague 1's here, isn't it? So what's this road here? Krosvinica, going north. Here we go. And then what was that? Okay, squeeze back over here. Plantaska. Yeah, bam, right, we're there. Okay, and now let's return. And that was just in front of us. That was just to our north. So we're like here. So those statues were on the Clementinium. We got to look into that. I think we're in the right place. Close enough. Right, let's Google. Well, no, let's check. Nice. Right, let's see who was on those statues then, shall we? So, who were these 2 statues? Well, for starters, there weren't 2 statues, there was actually 3 statues. I completely missed one because I didn't look up, but it was above the other 2. A rookie error. Now, we also have these words in Latin, Be Agnes ora pro nobissi, which initially Google Translate thought meant lambs, pray for us. But that didn't quite feel right to me, and after further research I found that it is actually in reference to the Latin liturgical chant Ora pro nobis beta Agnes, which translates to pray for us, blessed Agnes. Now, we wanted to identify the dome as well as those statues, and we're going to start with the dome because it is much easier. It is the domed roof of the Church of St. Francis of Assisi, which is impressive from the outside but stunning from the inside. Absolutely beautiful. Now, identifying these statues was actually a lot harder than I expected it to be. We're in a local tourist area, there must be loads of information about these, but these statues actually caused me several headaches, which I only just got to the bottom of. First, I tried zooming in and seeing if they had a nameplate or any features that were visible or recognizable to me, but alas, unfortunately, there were no clues there. I then set about identifying the building instead, and the red star above the door indicates to us that this is a building associated with the Covenant of the Knights of the Cross with the Red Star, which is quite a mouthful. Now, the Covenant of the Knights of the Cross with the Red Star was founded in the Middle Ages in 1233 by St. Agnes of Bohemia, which is why they had that engraving at the top and they wanted Agnes to pray for them. St. Agnes was the daughter of King Ottokar I of Bohemia, and she ran away and abandoned royal life after an attempted politically motivated forced marriage, and instead she devoted her life to prayer, charity, and spiritual works. Agnes went on to build a monastery and a friary complex attached to a hospital, and this religious complex was one of the first Gothic buildings in Prague. Now, I read every webpage that I could find about this building, but at no point were these statues named. I then tried a reverse image search on Google, but it kept thinking it was this different statue in Italy, easily. And then I also went and tried identifying the statues using AI, but they were all unsuccessful. So instead, I took a bit of a rogue approach and I just emailed the Covenant, which is not something I expected to be doing this week. Having said that, they're really, really nice and they replied straight away. So the statue on the top represents St. Agnes of Bohemia. The statue to the left is St. Francis of Assisi. And then the statue on the right is St. Augustine, depicted with a burning heart. I spent hours Googling something that was solved with a 2-minute email. Anyway, big thanks to the admin department for their prompt reply. Legends. I'm pretty happy with that round. Let's see how I did in the next one. Ooh, right. Well, that's a nice hospital, isn't it? That's where you go if you get a really dignified injury. Those trucks feel American. This all feels American. Should I be looking at these signs? No work parking. National Society, Daughters of the American Revolution, Memorial Centennial Hall. Daughters of the American National Headquarters, Centennial Hall. Could this be Washington, maybe? These buildings feel pretty Washington. Be great if I could see that flag. What road is this? Constitution Avenue, Northwest. I think we've got to have a quick explore. Where is Washington, D.C.? It's around here, right? Right, and so we've got Constitution, Northwest. Oh, okay, right. That's to our southeast. Wait. I've started panicking. No. No. I panicked. Why was I there? Why? That was a panic. Because, the American Red Cross National Headquarters, Constitution Hall, Daughters of the American Revolution. It's all there. I just didn't use my brain yet again. Right. That was poor from me. Right, let's have a look at these buildings, shall we? Now, we were outside the American Red Cross National Headquarters, built between 1915 and 1917, when philanthropist Mabel Thorpe Boardman commissioned architects Abrecht Talbridge and Goodhue Livingstone to design a neoclassical complex to serve as both the national headquarters for the American Red Cross and also as a monument and memorial to women who served during the American Civil War. Interestingly, inside the Board of Governors room, it features this suite of Favril or Tiffany windows, the largest of its kind outside of any religious building in the world. Now, I had to look up what a Favril window was, and it is a unique type of stained glass created by Louis Comfort Tiffany in 1894. And unlike most stained glass windows at the time, Tiffany's patented process allowed him to mix metal oxides and minerals into the molten glass to create a fantastically iridescent color spectrum. Now, this process won him the grand prize at the 1900 Paris Exposition. Right, have I distracted you all enough for you to forget that I missed the Washington Monument 3 times? Because I missed it here, and then again here, and then again here. It is so important to keep your wits about you. You never know what clues are right under your nose. GeoGuessr is about ABC. Always be seeing. I'm going to trademark that, ABC. Always be seeing. Now, we also saw this flag, which I thought could have been a state's flag at the time, but it's actually the flag of the Organization of American States, of which this building is that institution's headquarters. Formerly known as the Pan-American Organization, the Organization of American States is a multilateral regional body focused on human rights, electoral oversight, social and economic development, and security in the Western Hemisphere. They are a collective of 33 countries within the Americas, and instead of listing all of the countries, it is much easier to list all of the countries who are not members. It is Nicaragua and Cuba, and kinda sort of Venezuela, who in 2017 said that they were intending to leave, but to my understanding, they haven't actually left yet. Now, have you forgotten about me missing the Washington Monument 3 times? You haven't? Okay, let's distract you with some more facts. We also saw this cute little cottage. Now, this is the Lockkeeper's House, and it is the oldest building on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Built in 1837 to house the lockkeeper to the Washington City Canal. Now, you may ask yourself, I've never seen a canal on the National Mall before, and you would be right, unless you are really, really, really old, as the Washington City Canal was closed in 1871. Okay, cool. You must have forgotten about me missing the Washington Monument 3 times now. Surely you have. Surely. Here's one last round to distract us some more. Ooh, okie dokie. Those are some long words, and I see Dusseldorf. So I am gonna go out on a limb and say we're on a road in Dusseldorf that has a tram running east to west. Right, number one, where's Dusseldorf? Here we go. Tram lines on the roads. Looks like it. This is a tram going east to west. We've got this road here, Wismanstrasse and Buka Allee. Wismanstrasse is going north. Go on. Go on. Oh, that would have been good, wouldn't it? What's they called again? Buka Allee. This is definitely going east-west. We've got any other trams? Buka Allee. Right, and the name of the other road was Wisman. Buka Allee, Buka. Come on. No, don't let me down. Don't let me down. We've got 46 seconds. Don't panic. Don't panic. Oh, I might panic a little bit. 30 seconds to find Wismanstrasse. Disaster. 13 seconds to go. This is a disaster. I should have looked at just the numbers. 57. Oh! I just snuck over a little bit just because I saw the number. Hermann Smeet Street. Strauss. Hermann Smeet. So have they changed the name of the road? Wait. Shenanigans. They've changed the name of the road. That's not what we saw, right? I gotta get to the bottom of this. So it was actually pretty easy to get to the bottom of this. In June 2024, this road was renamed from Wismanstrasse to Hermann Smeet Strasse, and the footage that we were looking at was captured in 2022. Originally, it was named after Hermann von Wisman, and now it is named after Hermann Smeets. One German Hermann for another Hermann German. Now, Hermann von Wisman was a German military officer and explorer in the late 1800s who served as an administrator for King Leopold II of Belgium. And if you know what Leopold did in Africa, you would know that Wisman is not a nice man at all. Wisman's forces were known for their extremely brutal methods for suppressing resistance. Now, the other Hermann, new Hermann, Hermann 2.0, was by all accounts a very nice man. Hermann Smeets was a lifelong resident of Dusseldorf, and in 1942, he founded a local resistance group against the Nazi regime. After the liberation of Dusseldorf, for a short time, Smeets actually became the provisional mayor, and he remained a lifelong figurehead in the local community with a 30-year tenure as the president of the Dusseldorf Unterbilk Local History Society. But ultimately, I think the most important thing to remember here is that I was right. For once in my life, I was right. They had changed the street name, there wasn't a glitch, I wasn't losing my mind, the game wasn't gaslighting me. I was right, and it is so rare in my adult life that I get to say that, so I'm going to be riding this high for weeks. Let's end this video on a high point. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all learned something that you didn't know before. I definitely did. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.